Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. Today we'll be talking about adaptation to new frequencies, new vibration. So as many of us can feel, like for example, if we compare this time right now with the time 2 or 3 years ago, we can sense that we are at the level where we feel more connected with ourselves than ever before. So what is happening as the vibrations are rising, more and more of us are feeling a greater awareness of love. And when it comes to love, it doesn't mean that you just feel love for yourself, but you feel more drawn to do things which brings you more love or which awakens more love within you. And you also sense a greater awareness of what is pulling you off the loving state, of the peaceful state or the joyful state. So you may recognize that every time you are enjoying your life, you feel a need to share more of that energy. And that's where we start creating, right? Sometimes it may be like a simple post somewhere on social media, and other times it may be a gentle smile to a stranger. You just feel like you need to share more of that joyful energy. And when you feel like you're getting off those vibrations, you feel a gentle urge to rest, to rejuvenate. You're not pushing things so much anymore. You're not desiring things so much anymore out of fear or out of any guilt or any frustration or whatever it is. You just feel like you need to rest. And it's all okay. In the past, I remember I was reading a lot of those books, how to build businesses and how to make huge impacts on the world. And all those books were talking about working hard and hustling and pushing things and all of that. But every time I've tried it, I felt like it's not the only way to do it. Like, if I'm able to enjoy in my process, it feels like everything is happening with ease. Like there's a stream of flow, and if I'm able to move myself into that flow state, everything will happen by itself. So that's what I've learned during my process, and I've recognized that there's so many information which is just not serving us anymore when we get to those new frequencies, when we get into that new vibrational state. And we automatically feel more drawn to love, to peace, to joy. And we start to see more reasons why we want to stay there, why we need to stay there. We start accepting things that are happening in our lives. And through acceptance, we see a greater lessons that life is bringing to us. As we can observe right now the world and everything that is happening, and from that state of seeing the effects on the world, we always can find patterns. Okay, yeah, that's why those things are happening, because of this connection with our spiritual aspects of life. And because of not knowing ourselves better, because of not being honest with ourselves through the years and through generations, we are seeing the results right now. And from that point of awareness, if we rehearse that, we say, well, if we become more honest with ourselves, if we learn to work from peace state or peaceful state, from harmonious state, if we learn to take action from joyful state, from the state of acceptance, will create completely different results, right? We start looking on life from that greater point of awareness, and we recognize, well, when we feel tired, we will rest. We will not push things because we are chasing certain deadlines, right? What are deadlines? Deadlines. And we rather say, well, if I'm not feeling love for doing that, it means that my body needs to recharge its batteries. Or something about that thing is out of alignment, so let's figure out what it is. And that's where we start adapting to those new frequencies, and we recognize, well, we actually can be in love with life. We actually can be in love with the creation. We actually can be the channelers for the source so it can express itself through our bodies. And we prepare our bodies and we celebrate our bodies to be that kind of a source or that kind of a channel. So if you feel like you're recognizing more than ever before what is pulling you off that joyful state, it means that you are adapting to these new frequencies. And be aware of where you're losing that state, where you're losing that sense, because it will help you to recognize what is still unknown to you, what is still unfamiliar to you. You will recognize that as soon as you're thinking about certain thing, it is affecting on how you feel. And as soon as something is affecting on how we feel, we start changing our behaviors. We adapt to this certain feelings. And more we go to the lower spectrum of feelings, more we become lazy and slow, and we start forgetting things, and we become like everything is boring, and we start judging and complaining and so on. So we recognize it's not our job to shift our habits and to shift our programs and so on. It's more about recognizing what is pulling us off into that state and just let go of it. Maybe it's like you're spending too much time on social media, or you're reading too much of certain negative news. That's what is pulling you off that state, and because you're spending so much time there, you've developed certain habits which became your identity, and suddenly when you're thinking about yourself, all you think about yourself is that you are lazy, that you can't change your behaviors, that you can't do this and that you're not a creative person, and so on. So your identity is attached to these lower vibrations, and you don't need to stay there. You don't need to stay there. That's why in the yesterday's video I've shared with you how important it is to slow down, how important it is to stop for a moment and do something which make you feel better. You know, how often we are in a rush, how often we think we must do so many things. But the truth is, that's what we've been programmed to believe, and how we've been programmed to think, and so on. And you know, once we step out of those programs, we recognize that we are living in the quantum universe. And in the quantum universe, it means that everything is already present as a potential. When everything is already present as a potential, the question is why we don't see that? Why we don't feel the presence of everything? And the answer is because we don't believe it. And we don't believe it because we've been lost in our limited way of thinking. And we've been lost in our limited way of thinking because people around us are lost in the limited way of thinking. And whatever we observe on a consistent basis, we start believing that. And if every single day we are hanging with people which are living their lives through a limited perspective, and we read stories which have been written through the minds of limited perspectives, we start believing that, and we start thinking that that's how life is. But you know, once we recognize that life is more than that, life is actually as wide as we choose to see it, as wide as we choose to experience it. We start expanding our spiritual awareness, because spiritual awareness is nothing else but our experiences. how we are experiencing life. And once we start expanding the ways how we choose to experience our lives, we feel a need to meditate. We feel a need to do something new. We feel a need to expand ourselves in all different areas. We try new things and we experiment what brings us greater joy, what brings us new experiences, what brings us new understanding, what brings us new lessons. And suddenly we feel drawn into so many different things, not because out of grief or out of need to achieve certain results, but out of curiosity. Because we've unlimited ourselves and suddenly we recognize that we don't know much about ourselves and we don't know much about who we are as humans. Deep inside we feel, well, we've came here with a certain reason. We've chosen our parents, we've chosen people which are constantly around us. But on a conscious level, we don't know why. So we start questioning and we recognize, yes, questions will bring us answers in unfamiliar ways. So we recognize answers were always present, but our limited mind was ignoring them. So if answers are coming in unfamiliar ways, we need to start looking on life through unfamiliar lens. Right? And we start looking on life through unfamiliar lens. We start doing things completely differently and we recognize science and synchronicities. And we recognize that we feel drawn to completely new information, and then there's a book which appears in our lives, and there's a video which appears in, your daily life, and there are new people coming up into your life, and suddenly you've been exposed to completely new information, completely new things, new perspectives, and you start living more of that. You start expanding your mind and you try those new things which you've been exposed to, and you recognize, well, some of those things are connecting you back to more joy, to a greater state of harmony, and some of those things are lowering you down again. Then you again recognize that if you're exposing yourself to too much information, it will again lower you down into lower states of consciousness. So you recognize that you need to create a certain balance in your life, and balance will create harmony. So when it comes to balance, it comes to greater awareness over our actions. So it's a time to learn, it's a time to practice, it's a time to just be, it's a time to be alone, it's a time to meditate, it's a time to experience, it's a time to be curious, it's time to sleep, to rest, and so on. And that's where we become even more aware of what this time right now is offering to us. What our heart is desiring the most right at this moment. And if we close our eyes and truly pay attention, do I feel called to go outside into the nature? Do I feel called to write? Do I feel called to help somebody right now? Do I feel called to rest right now? Do I feel called to do something, whatever it is? You start connecting more and more to your internal voice, to the voice of your spirit. And that's what is happening when you start adapting to those new frequencies which are present right now. So do not ignore it. However you're experiencing it, write in the comments below. However you're experiencing it, do not ignore it. It is happening to you because you're changing yourself. You're becoming more of your natural self. More of who you are meant to be, and less of who you've been taught to be. So, my friends, this is it for today. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power for your transformative journey. I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting, and I want to remind you that we are still running a giveaway on my Instagram page, I Draw My Passion. You can go there and check it out. In the description of that post on my Instagram, there's everything you need to know how to enter it, how to win it, and I'm wishing you all the best. Thanks to all of you for supporting my art in my Etsy shop, I Draw My Passion. You're all truly appreciated. Until next time, one love.